Hi, I'm Peter Lindstrom. I'm the mayor of Falcon Heights, and we are at the Sustainability Fair, which is a collaborative effort between the city of Falcon Heights, the city of Lauderdale, and the city of St. Anthony and the University of Minnesota. Well, the big idea is that they can make a difference in their own homes, in their own neighborhoods, in their own cities, and in the state of Minnesota and in our nation. We only have one planet, and we ought to treat it with respect and treat it as it should be treated. And so all of us working together can make a difference on sustainability.
My name is Amir Nadav. I'm a lecturer at the University of Minnesota, and I teach the Sustainable Communities capstone class that is presenting here tonight. This course is the capstone course for the minor in sustainability studies, and the purpose is really to have students work on real-world sustainability projects. So to take them out of the classroom and into the community and applying everything they've learned about sustainability in the real world. So that's what the student posters are about today. They've been working with the three cities of St. Anthony Village, Falcon Heights, and Lauderdale over the course of the entire semester, and really working on projects that we hope the cities will think about implementing after the semester is over.
We have a group that's looking at bicycle infrastructure in Falcon Heights. We have a group that's looking at scaling up home efficiency, energy efficiency, so what that would look like if we did that on a massive scale, how much savings that could make. We have a group looking at bus rapid transit. So that's coming to Falcon Heights, and so they wanted to find out what does that mean, how do we communicate effectively about that. So we have a group that's looking at infill development in Lauderdale and what sort of parameters the city might put around or think about suggesting for new construction that comes into that city and a more established neighborhood. We also have a group that's looking at pushing the envelope in a 1950s Rambler. If you're going to remodel that, how much can you go sustainable?
We have broken our class into teams, and we are looking at making different communities in the area more sustainable, eco-friendly. My team is working with Falcon Heights to make them more bicycle-friendly. So we want to implement more bike parking, especially at their community park. Maybe add some nice ride stations and more signage.
I think that we want people that come to the Sustainability Fair to leave knowing that there's multiple ways for them to incorporate sustainability into their lifestyles so that they feel like more comfortable and so they know that there are resources out there for them.
It's not hard to live a more sustainable lifestyle and be friendly to the environment. We only have one Earth, so we should take care of it.
The 21st century, we're going to have the largest societal and environmental challenges humanity has ever faced. So coming here, finding community, like you said, finding resources is a huge part of making progress in the right direction towards a brighter future.
The University of Minnesota Bee Squad does a lot of bee outreach, and so we keep honeybee hives for people around the Twin Cities that are interested in supporting beekeeping as part of green initiatives or sustainability. And then we also do education events like this, as well as teach beekeeping classes on campus for beekeepers. Mostly what we're trying to teach people at a lot of the events that we go to is that honeybees are not scary. And so I think people are always sort of do a little bit of a double take when they see the beehive. But it's amazing how interested people are and how interested kids are. Sometimes kids think that honeybees are scary or they're creepy crawly or something. But if they just give them a moment to kind of just look at the hive and really get sort of engrossed in watching the bees move around, I think people find that they're not scary, they're really interesting. I mean, one cool thing is that people are really excited about honeybees, and they're sort of a proxy for taking care of the environment. And so if you want to support honeybees, you can plant flowers, use less pesticide, just be generally more sustainable in your life, have flowers instead of just a lawn of green grass, don't use as much water. And so I think this fits in really well for people just trying to think more about the environment and do things that are going to be helpful to a lot of different species.
So the main things that we looked at were basically how a homeowner in St. Anthony Village can preserve energy and save money in their home. And so some solutions we looked at were replacing the furnace so that it's more energy efficient, fixing your ductwork, caulking
your windows and siding, and then also adding insulation, and all of that added together just saves tons of money like within a year. And even though sometimes you have to invest money like replacing your furnace, it pays itself within like the next couple of years. So it's very helpful for each homeowner.
You can also just improve the general comfort of your home, like ensuring that your home isn't drafty or, you don't have these kind of leaks in your home can allow it to be more comfortable and let you kind of enjoy your spaces a little bit more.
Yeah, it also doesn't hurt the property value at all. If you look at, our visual behind, you'll notice that a lot of it does bring back to like the bottom line. We focus a lot on cost, especially cost reductions, annual savings for the homeowner, because there's always kind of like two parts of this kind of sustainability initiatives. There's like we're going to go totally off the grid and have, a solar pump that fuels gray water through a whole house, and it's wonderful, but it's not realistic for every homeowner, especially working families here in the area. And so you see here is just kind of a more practical approach to, say, a family of 3 that wants to cut as much as they can in a given year, but doesn't actually have the time to gut their house and put solar panels on the roof. And so, it's a nice, it's an alternative approach.
The message we want students to take out of the course is that, sustainability is not just something you study in a textbook, but it's something that happens in communities in the real world and in any community across the state and across the country. And that in order to make sustainability happen, you have to think about the interconnections between the environment, between the economy and social justice issues, and you have to be engaged in the community to really understand the local context so you can come up with solutions that really fit every specific community's needs. That solutions are not necessarily one size fits all, but they're really developed in collaboration with the community members and the community leaders who can articulate a vision and ideas that really fit their own context.
I talked to a mayor a moment ago. I've been talking to city managers, and before I did all this, the networks and the structures of local governments, city councilors, all of this was just kind of an abstract thing. I knew that somehow cities worked and they happened and things got done, but I never understood, who was in charge and how directly approachable these structures and networks and people were. And I think that was, kind of lifting the veil for like how does this actually function on a day-to-day basis, who's actually putting in the man hours and getting things done, and how can you jump right in and affect those systems. I'd say that's by far the most applicable and rewarding part of it.
I want them to feel empowered. I want them to feel hopeful. I want them to feel that there are actions they can do on the ground now that'll make a difference in their life, because we have to take action in the next 10 or 20 years. It's really important to get everybody engaged and meet people where they're at. So that's why I think we have a variety of approaches.
Today we're making non-toxic cleaner bottles. We're making these eco-friendly bottles with borax, white vinegar, and some sulfur-free soap for dishwashers. It has less chemicals than others, and it's safer. And this has sulfur-free.
Making an eco-friendly cleaner is one thing you can do for not only your own health, but the health of our environment.
Well, we're very excited to be collaborating with the 3 cities and the 3 Rivers Park District and the Citizens for Sustainability group on this collaboration. This is our 4th year actually collaborating together, and we've really kind of grown the discussion around sustainability in the 3 cities over time. And initially this sort of started out as more of a planning exercise with local government specifically. Only in the last 2-3 years have we kind of opened up the conversation to broader community members. And the reason we did that is because we realized that achieving sustainability is an ongoing process, and it's something that cannot just be top down. It cannot just be implemented by local government and imposed on the community, but it's something that requires community engagement. It has to do with how everybody lives their lives in the community, their transportation choices, their housing choices, and what they can do in their own lives. So local governments have done a lot to lead by example, but now they like to engage their residents, their businesses, and their citizens as well. So that's really what the purpose of this event is all about.
What you throw out is really important, and so we try to educate people on recycling. For recycling, you can recycle all of this stuff, plastic and cans and paper, But people still get confused, and sometimes they think it's kind of hard. So we're here to try to tell people and remind people it's pretty easy. So for plastics example, we want to make sure plastic containers are empty, but we can leave the caps on. Same if it's a glass bottle or a carton, to please leave the caps on, but make sure the containers are empty. You can recycle aluminum foil now, and your tin cans, and aluminum cans. People sometimes are confused on aluminum foil, but if it's clean, that's fine. But with plastics, people get very confused on plastics. We don't want things that are small plastic or these kind of plastics. We want plastics that are containers, that had something in it and you can usually pour it out. So these kind of plastics are still very good to recycle. So the other thing we're here tonight to do is to talk about organics. 25% of our waste is organic or compostable materials. Paper you can't recycle, and food waste that you really shouldn't put in your backyard compost bin. Backyard compost bins are for fruits and vegetables. So if you don't want to put in your backyard composting bin like meats and dairies, those attract rodents, you could put them in a compost bucket and bring them to our yard waste sites. We accept all your vegetables and food scraps and non-recyclable paper. Non-recyclable paper. Non-recyclable paper is paper cups, napkins, paper plates, things like this. I have my fake fruit and vegetables here, pizza leftovers, things like that. And all this material can be put in here and taken to our yard waste site, and we take it to a commercial composter, which will make compost, dirt, out of it within 6 months. So we're trying to encourage people to try and take this material to our yard waste sites until we can get it collected at the curb. Right now, there's nobody that really collects it at the curb in Ramsey County, but we're working on that. So that would be really helpful. This is a mini bale of aluminum cans. So it's all your aluminum cans you might throw in your recycling bin squished up. And so the kids guess how many are in here. There's about 571 cans in this cube. These are materials that get made from the recycling. You put at the curb. Your plastic might get all chopped up and then made into something new, like this, a clipboard or lattice or a headband. It's hard to imagine that the plastic bottle turned into a headband or carpet. So when you recycle, it gets made into new products, and we just want to encourage people to remember, yes, indeed, throwing it in the recycling bin is important. Creates jobs for Minnesota. Over 500,000 people work in the waste industry, so there's lots of jobs there. Within 3 months of the time that a can is made, filled with something, on the grocery shelf, purchased, drank, put in your recycling bin, and back to the aluminum can company, it can be turned back into that in 3 months.
So I would love for the attendees to feel inspired, to feel that there's people of like minds in their community doing really good work. So maybe developing a community of residents that they didn't know was around them. So I think that would be helpful. I think I'd love for them to get resources if they wanted to green their own life. And I also would like them to think about joining efforts. Like, how can they collaborate and make things happen on a bigger scale?
What I'm looking at here on this crowd are solutions. And I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes you get a little down. When you open up the newspaper, you see the headlines, and it's true. But what I see tonight are things that we can do in our neighborhoods, and in our cities, and in our state, and in our nation that are going to make a difference to climate change starting right now. Thank you very much.